Hello, everybody. Welcome to Osto. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Osto Rusty Buckets. I worked out for the first time in like a month today, and I want to die. It's so painful. Anyways, so speaking of painful, a lot of the games that I watched today were not very good. So let's just get some of them out of the way. The focus of this video, as you can tell from the title, is going to be the Charlotte Hornets. But I do got to go over the other games that I watched today. I'm going to get out of the way because like every game that I watched besides for one of them was pretty much a blowout. Even for the Hornets, I guess the Hornets game was close, but the box score makes it look a little less close. But yeah, so Knicks versus Nets, Lakers versus Warriors, and Suns versus Grizzlies. I'll be honest, on the Suns versus Grizzlies front, I was barely watching because the Suns got out into a pretty big lead, and then it was really the Grizzlies trying to play catch up the entire time. I had not been watching as many Grizzlies games as I should be watching, so I wanted to tune in. But ended up getting a bit of a dud of a game. Vooch had another great game. He had a like 20-20 game the other day, so this is 24-17. But pretty standard game for the Suns and a kind of standard game for the Grizzlies. Ja Morant, who has been amazing. The 3 games posts, or maybe it was 4, me making my video on him, but then he's been bad the 2 games that I've watched of them after. So I guess I'm just a bad luck charm for him. Warriors versus Lakers. I swear to God, dude, the Lakers, this might be the most dunks I've ever seen in a game. Like, at least in the most dunks I've seen in a half, because my goodness, like, they got so many fucking dunks, especially in that fourth quarter. Once it got to garbage time, is like there was just no rim protection. And they had James Wiseman in the game. He was not protecting the basket at all. I don't know if that's a common trend. I've actually seen very little of James Wiseman because the Warriors games that I have watched, he doesn't play much, and I know he doesn't play much, period. But it was definitely a little bit of he played good in the Bulls game I watched at the start of the year. But other than that, like I haven't seen him play a whole lot. But the rim protection just was not there in this game. Talen Horton-Tucker a bunch of drives. What's his name? Montrezl Harrell. So many buckets in the paint, and it wasn't like he was dominating. It was just a bunch of easy layups and dunks just at the basket. And this would also probably be a very high record for points in the paint as well. I don't know if there is a thing on here that tracks that. Is there points in the paint here? Nope, there's not. So I can't pull that up specifically. Also, KCP was hitting his threes in this game. Apparently, he's had a little bit of a down year, but he was very good in this one. 3 for 4 from outside, 5 for 8 from the field in general. Kuzma had yet another good game off the bench. Oh, shit. I didn't realize Horton-Tucker had 10 assists? Wow. I've pointed out a few times now that Horton-Tucker kind of has tunnel vision problems. So to see him have 10 assists, that shocked me. I knew he threw a couple of nice passes, but I didn't realize he was doing it like that. So shout out to Horton-Tucker, I guess. Then let's talk about Knicks versus Nets. I wanted to watch some more Knicks just because I'm planning on doing a video on RJ Barrett, and I wanted to get more eyes on him. Unfortunately, he did not have the best game in the world in the first half. He turned it around in the second half, but in the first half, I was like, this is not going to be a good game. He turned it up a little bit more. He was getting to the free throw line at the start of the game, but he was not making any of his shots. But that's pretty much the summary for him. Also, another guy who turned it around in the second half was Julius Randle, because in the first half, I think he was like 1 for 8 or something like that, somewhere in that ballpark. He finishes the game with 33 points on 48% shooting, so that's good. He had a very good one here. So this game, the Nets took the big lead in the first half, and I kind of anticipated a comeback from the Knicks, and that is what happened. There was a comeback here on the net side of things. Kyrie with 34, James Harden with a 21, 15, and 15 triple-double. That's kind of nuts. It's weird seeing James Harden play an NBA game and shoot the ball 15 times. Other than that, I mean, there's nothing too noteworthy. This did end up being a relatively close game. There was one play where Julius Randle was called for a travel despite being blocked, and he was freaking out at the ref, and then Obi Toppin pulled him back. At least this is what people in the locker room were telling me. This is the negative of watching games on mute, is that sometimes you'll miss shit because you're looking at another game and you can't hear the commentator say, oh, Julius Randle is flipping out or something like that. So you miss things like that. That happened. Speaking of missing things, let's get over to the Charlotte Hornets. I didn't understand what was happening in this fourth quarter with the minutes with LaMelo Ball. It was weird. I didn't really catch what was going on there. He ended up finishing the game with 25 minutes, which was the fourth most on the team. Actually, fifth most because he played slightly less than PJ Washington. He didn't have foul trouble, and I didn't see him get hurt. Maybe he got hurt and had to get back in, but he got in the last minute and a half of this game, he was off of the court and Devontae Graham was in, and then he subbed in for 30 seconds, and then he subbed out, and then Cody Martin was in, or maybe it was Caleb Martin. I'm not sure which of the Martin twins was the guy who was playing. I can actually probably pull it up right here because the other one wasn't playing. It is Cody Martin. I thought it was. But yeah, I don't understand what that was about, but I don't want to focus too much on that. So this game, another comeback victory here. The Kings, this was a comeback victory. Nets versus Knicks was not a comeback victory, but it was a comeback attempt at least. This game, the Kings were up by a pretty solid margin. But I was pretty confident that lead was going to be blown just simply because the Hornets are a better team than the Kings. And that's exactly what happened. On top of the fact that Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier were both playing very well. It was as long as LaMelo plays fine, they should be fine. And LaMelo did play fine, even though he only played 25 and a half minutes, which I don't really understand, but it ended up working out. Devontae Graham as well played, and he had a good game. It's nice to see him back. He was one of my favorite players last year, so him being out kind of sucked. But on the Kings side of things, De'Aaron Fox, once again, amazing. There was one really nice play where Harrison Barnes dished it to Marvin Bagley for a borderline poster dunk, but that's all he did. He also played 15 minutes. It kind of feels like Sacramento. Either feels like Sacramento's all the way in on Bagley or just giving up on him, depending on the game that you watch. So I don't know. Rashawn Holmes had a good game. He had a couple of those free throw line 1 foot floater things. He's so good at that shot. And it's a weird shot. You don't see too many people taking shots like that, but he just makes it all the time. He did airball one of them, but usually it works out for him. But I just want to talk about the Hornets in general, just use that as a branching off point, because this game was a very fun one. And it kind of always is with the Hornets, because this is just a team that is fun. Also, one more detail from this game that I wanted to point out. Gordon Hayward got really deep post position on a couple of different possessions, able to just hit a short fadeaway out of it. I think 3 different times it happened. He went for it again another time, and then Rashawn Holmes blocked him. But I don't know if that's a Gordon Hayward thing, a Hornets offensive set thing, or just simply the Kings allowing it, but they were abusing that. And that was certainly interesting. But the Hornets, I don't know where they rank in pace, but they got to be up there somewhere in that ballpark anyways. And of course you can expect that with LaMelo. Terry Rozier loves to run. Gordon Hayward doesn't hate running. PJ Washington's a mobile big. Cody Zeller, not so much the case. But Bismack Biyombo, who usually plays more minutes than Cody Zeller, or somewhere close anyways, he runs the floor more. Miles Bridges obviously runs the floor, and I've mentioned this before, he has very good chemistry with LaMelo. But this team, just in general, it's all the shooting they have. Terry Rozier has had a breakout year. I think he's averaging 20 points. If he's not averaging exactly 20 points, he's definitely on the border. So he's averaging 20.4. Yeah, he's been awesome. And you would think Gordon Hayward and Lonzo or LaMelo shooting as much as they do, Terry would not have room to average 20 points per game, and yet he still does. Hayward averages 21. And LaMelo averages 16, but since a starter, he's averaged 18, 19. So those 3 are splitting up the minutes well. I've mentioned before, every time I talk about the Hornets, that PJ Washington is one of the most underrated young players in the league. I think he has all-star level potential just simply because he is a big man who gets it. He is a very modern-day big. He can play small ball 5, but primarily a 4. But he's a very good three-point shooter. He hit a couple of nice threes in this one. He is a very smart defensive player. He really is a smart player in general. He doesn't make mistakes too often. He's not some highlight defensive player, but he's one of those guys who is not going to make mistakes on that end. Right place, right time. Good help defense. Not a weakling in the post. Pretty good defending the perimeter. He is a very key player to this team, and it seems like often Miles Bridges outshines him in terms of getting attention, and that's understandable. He does the dunks that he does, but PJ Washington is by far and away the second most valuable young player on this team, and I'm not putting Terry Rozier in the young player category. He might be 25, 24. How old is Terry Rozier? Now I gotta look that up. Um, but PJ Washington, very very good, and I think he has some serious potential. I'm now looking up Terry Rozier age because I'm pretty sure he's like 25. He's 26. So yeah, not really young when you're at 26, but. PJ Washington, shout out to him. But this team, dude, I mean, they're now, I believe, are they the fifth seed or the fourth seed? Let me see here. They are the sixth. Oh, it hasn't updated yet. Okay, so they're going to be tied, or they're going to be the fifth seed. Yeah, after this game gets counted on the NBA app, but they're going to be the same record. They're actually tied for fourth with the Miami Heat. So yeah, the Hornets, they're not only fun, like that's a common thing. Like you say a team is fun when really you mean they're bad, but they're at least not like hard to watch bad. They're just simply not that good. But this team is good and fun. And especially add on to it that the Hornets commentators are so good. If you are somebody who watches the games with audio, which I rarely do, then I would highly recommend you tune in for some Hornets games. And I have to say I'm very excited for this. Also, I should point out another detail from this game. Malik Monk had two very nasty dunks in this one. One of them was on the fast break, and the other one he kind of it might have been an offensive foul, just pushed his man off of him, and I believe he got an and one out of that one. It might have been the fast break dunk. There was an and one, but shout out to Malik Monk because he's also been really good this year, and he's another player that's relatively fun because he's a microwave type of guy where he gets hot and he just starts making crazy shit. But I'm very excited about this because I live about 2 hours from Charlotte, so I can go to Hornets games pretty regularly. And I've done this in the past, but now that they got LaMelo Ball and they have a pretty good team here, it's going to be a very fun team to watch. It used to be like I'm there for the team that they're playing, but now that they got LaMelo and they got the team they have right now, I can be there for both. So the Hornets are a very fun team, and if you've not been watching many Hornets games and you're looking for a team to add to your rotation, I would highly recommend that team because they're very fun to watch. But other than that, I mean, there's not much else to say about today. The other games I watched today are not that great. I'm going to have to check out some more Knicks games for RJ Barrett because the game he played today was so-so. Like, he was good the second half. He was really bad the first half. So, it balances out, I guess, to just being an okay game. But I need to see more from him because I'm planning on making a video about him. I think I said that earlier. But, yeah, RJ Barrett, need to see a little bit more before I'm confident in making that video. But in general, the games today not that great. I think there might have been a few close games I just didn't catch, but that's what happens sometimes, unfortunately. But even then, no, actually, Clippers Mavericks wasn't really close. Nuggets Pacers wasn't really close. Pistons Spurs wasn't close. Wizards Bucks wasn't really all that close. And maybe they were close for a good chunk of them, and then the lead ended up looking bigger at the end. I don't know, that happens sometimes, but from what I'm looking at, doesn't seem like I missed anything special. So not a great day for NBA games today, but I just wanted to talk about the Hornets, and this is a great opportunity to do it. So shout out to the Charlotte Hornets. But yeah, that's it. Bye.